Well, amen. Today's video is going to be in Joshua chapter 2. And, this is where Joshua sent out, 2 men to spy, into the land and even to Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house, named Rahab. And they stayed there. So I'm going to start reading in verse 9. And this is right after some soldiers came looking for people, or came looking for the 2 spies. So she hid them on top of the roof. So in verse 9, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is falling upon us, and all of the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side, Jordan, Sihon, and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. As soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, He is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that you will save alive my father, my mother, my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, For our life for yours. If ye utter not this our business, and it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Even a harlot knew that they were of God. Even someone who was in sin, they knew, or she knew, that the Lord was with them because of the parting of the Red Sea with Moses and everything that they've done. Because they came from a point that the evidence of God with them was in play. And there will always be evidence on what side of the line you're on. Whether it's on the King of Kings side or whether it's the devil's side. There's always going to be evidence of which one. Because in Matthew, I believe it said that a good tree will not bringeth forth evil fruit, and an evil tree will not bringeth forth good fruit. And we all know that how Joshua went in and destroyed that city, and that harlot and her family, Rahab's family, was saved, and everything was put together righteously with truth. I'm going to skip over here to Joshua chapter 4, and I'm going to start with verse 17. Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, Come ye up out of Jordan. And it came to pass, when the priests that bare the ark of the covenant of the Lord were come up out of the midst of Jordan, and the soles of the priests' feet were lifted up unto the dry land, that the waters returned unto their place, that flowed over all his banks, as they did before. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th day on the first month, and encamped in Gilgal, in the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones that they took out of Jordan did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. And he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, When your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean these stones? Then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. That just goes to say that even if there is a body of water that is in your way, that where God's wanting you to go, God will pull that water in. And when you pass over it, it will go back as if it never was dry. So God always takes care of his people. God always brings forth guidance and guidance if you just follow him. If you will just obey him. The saying is that 99% obedience is 100% disobedience. So we have to obey God completely and fully to the full extent. We have to always do what God has us to do, because somebody else's healing or deliverance or whatever the case may be could depend on your obedience. Go pray for somebody if God tells you to, and don't hesitate. Because that person might be wanting God to move, and it takes you to move God for them. So, we have to always keep doing what the Lord has us to do. And that's the main thing we've got to do, is because we've got to obey God. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And I'm going to end with this. But even if it takes a Rahab to have the fear of God, to help you to accomplish what the Lord wants you to do, and for all means, we've got to use discernment. We've got to use what God has us, but we have to use and have the fear of God, because the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. So therefore, it don't matter what somebody else has done, if they've turned around and changed, and so that way that they are following the Lord. You should not let their past come in between you or them and their blessing. And just back at Rahab, because the fear of God she hid the spies. So therefore, when they came in to kill whoever they was going to kill and to take that land, Rahab and her family were saved because of the fear of God and because she knew that God was with Joshua's army. You know, and this goes back to the demonstration power of God. You know, without demonstration, there's no fear. Just like, and I mean godly fear. Just like when Ananias and Sapphira, they didn't have no fear. They didn't care to lie and to hold back. So therefore that lie, which means that they did not have godly fear. So therefore they lost their lives because they lied to God. So that's one of the reasons why we've got to have godly fear and to have that boundary of what not to do, you know, and to always obey God, you know. But I'm gonna end this here. I know that it's a little long video and probably a little swapping back and forth on topics and stuff, but you know, we just got to obey God no matter what, no matter who likes it, who don't, because God's the only thing that matters.